Did you know plants can grow without soil? And this method was successfully used to grow vegetables like tomato, seedless cucumber, and lettuce. In this video, let's figure out how that happens. In 1860, Julius von Sachs was conducting experiments to understand what plants actually need in order to survive. He proved that soil was actually not essential as long as plants received water, dissolved mineral nutrients, and the necessary oxygen. His work established the principle of growing plants in a mineral nutrient solution, which was the basics of hydroponics. Although he laid the foundational work, the term hydroponics was coined later in 1937 by William Gericke. Hydroponics is the technique of growing plants in a specified nutrient solution. The growth of terrestrial plants without soil in a nutrient solution is called as a solution culture. It looks something like this. The setup involves a pot or a tub which has a lid and holes. These holes are plugged with cotton. It is filled with the nutrient solution. Then we pot the plant. A funnel is inserted through which we give fresh nutrient solution, and there is also an aerating tube. And then when this culture is given sunlight and allowed to grow, we see the roots developing within the solution in this manner. It is important to note that purified water and mineral salts have to be given for hydroponics. This is to ensure that only the intended, precisely measured nutrients are available for the plant, and other contaminants like heavy metals or excess salts that can interfere with the growth do not enter the solution. But how did we deduce the nutrient requirement of a plant? Because it's not the same and differs from one plant to another. So around 1930s, plant nutritionists started investigating diseases that were seen in certain plants. They did this by observing symptoms that are related to the existing soil conditions like salinity and nutrient deficiency. So they started correlating the soil conditions with the symptoms of these diseases. And then what they did is they started using solution culture to study the above. Now, there are two ways in which the study was conducted. One was a qualitative test where they added or removed a specific element and then noticed the changes in the plant growth and structure. The other was quantitative where they added different concentrations of the same element to figure out in what concentration is it useful for the plant. And finally, what does the hydroponic plant production setup look like? So there is a reservoir with a nutrient solution. The nutrient solution must be aerated properly for the optimum growth of the plant. Poor aeration in hydroponics can lead to suffocation of the root. Now, this prevents the root from taking up the nutrients that it needs, and plants become vulnerable to diseases like root rot. There is a tube which then opens into this reservoir and it is placed slightly above the nutrient tank. A small pipe connects the tube to the reservoir and there is a pump at the end of the tube. The pump circulates the solution from the reservoir to the elevated tube. The solution then flows down to the tube and it returns to the reservoir due to gravity. The plants are grown in tubes or in troughs that are placed in the tube. On a closer look, this is how the plants appear. You can see that the plants or the trough is placed slightly above and the roots are growing in the space that are present inside. This setup is so simple that many people have hydroponic plants at their home even to grow vegetables and fruits. If you get a chance, would you also try to grow plants in this manner?